Hello, in this video I am going to show you how to deal with the exceptions in the Oracle PL/SQL. This is the Oracle PL/SQL programming part 2 that I am going to be dealing in. This part is about exceptions. Now let's go and look from the previous example. In the previous example we ran a stored not a stored procedure. Before the stored procedure, we did not run a stored procedure. We just ran a block of the SQL. That's it. And I'm going to rerun the same SQL this time using a label. If you want to define a big block, you can use a label. The label, as you can see, I have started a label at the very beginning. The name has been inserted here, and if you go at the bottom after the end there is a label insert rect. That is exactly the label which is in the very beginning at the top. Now this is the SQL. As you can see, I have already described to you in the, if you have not watched the SQL, the PL/SQL programming part 1, you need to watch that thing. This is exactly what it is, exactly the same as SQL, and I'm going to run it without any changes. If you have not watched the PL/SQL programming part 1, you need to watch it before you can go further, because this is a continuation of it. And I am going to execute this thing. There's nothing much different except a label here, and you can see the PL/SQL has executed, and we can see that the USA and Canada has been the output of the stored procedure. Now where was it? I will once again explain it to you. This is a stored procedure. Actually, sorry, this is the SQL block that is actually printing the value of the variable. If you want to look at what exactly the explanation is, you have to watch the PL/SQL programming part 1. Now let's say we did not want to use this SQL as it is, because this is like just like a raw SQL. It has no value if you are going to use it in the programming until and unless you can pack it within a stored procedure. So let's remove this thing because this is not needed with the create and replace. And now instead of actually using the just open block, I put it in the statement create or replace procedure, and I'm creating a procedure. This is the procedure name, and as now if you see the declare word has been removed, and now I'm declaring a variable here exactly as I did in the PLSK. This is the B city varchar 25. The value I have assigned is New York. For B country, again the varchar 25, the value I have assigned is USA. For B city varchar 25, CV city 2 is Toronto. Exactly as the first one, first in the first video. There are no changes except that we have put a statement here, and the word declare variable has been removed from the procedure. Otherwise the SQL is exactly the same. Now I will just go and create this procedure, and once I create a procedure, you will okay, let me run it for the people who have not actually seen the part 1. So I will just run it very fast with the what this SQL comes. Now that we have declared a variable, now the begin end block is needed. You have to use everything in begin end. So now it is insert into the city country. This is the table name. The table name is already created. The table is already created with two fields at city and country. So we are putting the values of B city 1, B city 1, B country. V city 1 is from coming from here, as you can see, and V country is coming from here. This is the value. So this New York would be get it inserted into the first, and the USA would get inserted into the first country. Then Toronto would be coming here, and Canada would be coming here. As you can, after inserting, we are selecting the record from the city country table. You're selecting only country and inserting into the variable we output str, which we have already defined at the top here. Once I insert a variable into this thing, the VSP output str variable, then, and where the city, I have a condition with the city VCT equals 1. Now, where is the VCT coming from? The VCT is actually New York. This is the record we inserted right now here. So it should show us the country is USA, because we are getting the country in the same way, same thing in the likewise situation. As you can see, I am just running the SQL again with the VCT2, and in this case you will see Canada, and this is the rollback, because I am not if I say commit, the both the records would be written down permanently, but I am not writing it down. I'm just saying rollback, which means the table would be left in the same condition as it was prior to we executing the stored procedure, which means both the rows that has been inserted into the table would not exist. That is what the rollback will do. And then there is the end word for the begin. So let's go and execute this stored procedure, and as you can, the stored procedure has been executed. Now how do we execute the stored procedure? We execute the stored procedure begin and end, and we put the stored procedure name, because as you can see, I will just, you have to look at the stored procedure name. As you can see here, this is exactly put between the begin and end, and we will run this SQL after selecting the script, after doing it, and we should have an output. Again, if you see, because the SQL, the PLSQL have the same SQL in it, it still prints the USA and Canada. That is the exactly what it's doing. It's inserting the two records and it's showing up. That's what the script does. And then we now, because we are executing the stored procedure, we can use it multiple times, and we can call one stored procedure from the other stored procedure if we want it. No problems at all. Now once the stored procedure is compiled, the Oracle doesn't have to compile the stored procedure again and again. Now the execution becomes faster every time. If you are using the stored procedure every time, the stored procedure would execute much faster. Now let's move to a little bit towards the error handling. If you see, every time you try to create a procedure or any script or any programming language, there is always going to be an error. In Oracle, it is called raising exceptions. Here is the exception block. This is called the body of the PLSQL from the beginning to the end. Then there is the exception where you catch the error. Okay. Okay, here is another procedure. This is very nearly the same procedure, except I have added the exception section. Again, it is same, saying create or replace procedure, insert city, insert text city, country 2 as vcity varchar. The variables again New York, again the USA, and I will skip this thing, and everything is the same, except now I have one more section into it that is known as exception. This is the exception block. In the exception, I want to catch error. Now in this case, I'm trying to catch an exception when no data found. Then db output, dbms output, put line no records found. Insert into the error table log value no records were found, and I'm going to end it. And that's it. Now if I execute this procedure, let's see, we execute, and if we try to run it, you see that there was no exception raised because the records were found. So there was no, the records not found exception was not raised. No data found was not raised. This date, no data was found would be raised when the select would not be able to find any records. So it will go to the no exception, no, it will go to the exception when no data found, and this will get executed. So there is no records for the, as you can see, let's run this again. You will see again US and Canada getting printed here again on the line on the screen. That's it. Now I will try to modify this procedure already, and I'll create a new procedure a little bit different. In this procedure everything remains the same except there is no insert statement. Remember that we have so far, whenever we have inserted the statement, we have always rolled back, so there are no records in the table. Okay, that keep it that thing in the mind. Every time we execute it, there was a rollback. So rollback did not allow that records to get inserted and written being permanently. If there was a commit, so there would be have been, the records would have been written permanently in the table. Now in this situation, as you can see in this stored procedure, everything I have removed the insert statements. I've just selected only one select, make the logic very clear to you. I'm trying to select country into v output star, the variable again from city country. This is our table name where city exactly same, except I'm not inserting anything. There's only one statement in this thing, that's only select. And now there is the exception section which says when no data found, and this is what should happen. It should, and then it will say DMS output put line no records found, and insert into the error log values no records were found in the table city country. Okay, you can make this error more meaningful and more, you can add a few columns to the error log table to make it more meaningful, but right now because this is a demo, so this is perfectly okay in this situation. Now when no data found would get executed, it should actually print no records found, and it would insert an error or insert a record in the table log value. The no records were found for this table found in the table city country. Okay, and then it's end. Let's execute this and create a stored procedure. Let's see whether it catches the exception. The procedure was created without any errors, and let's execute this stored procedure and see what happens. Okay, yes, okay, let's remove this few characters here, and again we will, this is a quite big statement. It is creating a problem, it cannot display this. Once I removed it, I need to run this procedure again with to create and replace, so that it is able to Okay, let's go and see how far it is. Yes, it's got quite far. Okay, now it has been got modified, so it should not be creating a problem anymore. So we will run this procedure once more, and if you see, it has got created. I haven't changed anything except removed the made the sentence smaller because it was creating an error. And I'm going to execute this statement. And if you see, now where is the error? It did not show the error. Of course it did. Here it is. It is no records found. That exception was thrown off. And there was no record, no USA or Canada getting printed. And I will give you one more proof of it. Let's go and check it out in the error table. There has to be one record stating that there was a problem, maybe more than one, if because I have ran this SQL before. So let's go and see, and you can see here it is. Here you can see no records were found in the table. City country was inserted into the error table log. This is what is important. Now because the exception was raised, because there were no records found and the select raised the exception. So instead of, because it could not found, so it came to the exception, and the exception caught the problem because there was, we are catching that exception if there's been no record found, then display this error message on the screen and insert a record in the log error table log. Now we inserted an record into the error table log, and that's how it was. Now let's, again this is not needed. Okay, this is also not needed. Okay, now let's create a stored procedure. This time we would create an exception under an exception. That is, we are going to create a nested block. Now let's say, what do I mean by the exception? Everything remains the same as it is before. Now the same statement, everything is there. Select statement is there, everything as a, because we want the exception to be there, and rollback is there, and there is an exception when no data begin. DVM is output. So far so good. Till here we have already seen it. Till here there is nothing new in this exception till here. But what happens if the record could not be inserted into the, if this SQL fails, if this insert fails, so we have a nested block which raises another exception, but this time this exception is not raised for the PLSQL from the outside, but rather for the error that is going inside and trying to insert a record into the error table, and this raises an exception, and the exception says when other, because the record cannot be inserted, so there would be no point trying to insert it anything into this thing. So when others, then dbms output put line cannot insert into the error table log, and that's it, and end. That's it. It's so simple. So this exception under exception is known as a nested block. Let's go and create this procedure and execute it, and let's run it, and we should get one error exactly as it was before. no records found. And once we select the SQL, we select the table records. So you will be finding that there is one more record inserted into the table or not. No, because sorry, it would be yes, because this thing never was reached, because it was able to and insert a record here, even though there was an exception. But in this case, it was able to insert a record in this thing, so this was never raised. So that's why you could find this message getting printed on the screen, and we can see if we type select star from, let's do it fast, and I will move to a little different topic of the variable scope. And let's see, because they are very similar errors, you can see it here. It is, and it is there at the top. The first one is inserted the record, inserted the text, and it is there. Okay, because all the errors are the same, we do not know which one is the first and which one was the second one. Okay, let's leave it. Okay, and now let me take you to a little different topic about the variable scope. Now here is a variable scope. Now let's say I start a statement like declare, and I say declare b country varchar 30, and I assign the value Singapore to it. And let's say I say begin, and again I say dbms output dot put line, and I say print this to the screen. Put line is basically printing it to the screen. So it prints the value of this variable and on the screen. Again I say, again I start another, I say another declare. Now remember, I am declaring the variable inside the block, the other block. So what is happening is that I'm saying vname varchar 20 and assigning the value to it equals to R.N.A. Now begin. Now I've declared, and this variable has been declared for this block begin and end. So I say dbs put outline, put line, that's printed dbs output put line v country. So what is going to get printed? Because this variable is available for this thing, because I declare outside, it will get printed as Singapore. So, and if this dbs put line v name, so it will print R.N.A. and this block gets ends over. And now if you, though this block is over, okay, this was a declare begin. If I start tries to print this after this thing dbs output put line v country, so it will still print Singapore. Now take for a situation, if I try to dbm output put line v name, which was defined in this block, because this block is already ended for this thing, this declare statement here, it will give me an error if I try to do that thing. I'll not do that thing because I know it will give me an error. So let's go to the declare, and I start another block. Now in this block, the first block, it has the same variable exactly with the same name, v country. Okay, but this time the v country is char 30, varchar 230, and the value is US. Now I start the begin clause, the begin, and I say dbms output put line v country. This time when I say this, because I've declared it here, it will not show me Singapore, it will show me USA. because when you define a variable with the same name that has been defined before, Oracle hides the variable which has been defined before and prints the value which is defined into the block. In this case, so USA gets printed and not Singapore. But once this block gets ended, and again if I try to print B country, then again because this this variable is no more available now, so that B country which was got hidden because of this getting declared with the same variable name again is now visible. And if you try to print out DBS a put line with the V country, it will print again this time Singapore and not USA. Sorry, in the value this is Singapore is available again. Okay, let's say Singapore. Singapore is visible again. Let's go and run it. Okay, so that you can see it in action. Okay. I'm going to run the script and it was run successfully, it says. And let's go to the DVMS output. You can see the last one is Singapore. The first was Singapore, the second was, and there were R.N.A, then there was again a Singapore, and then the USA, then Singapore. This is what exactly happened. This is what is known as the variable scope. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it and it was very informative to you. I will just end it here. Bye bye.